You ever sometimes feel like you're being sabotaged by forces outside of things that you can control? That's what this week has felt like. And then on top of that, in about 3 seconds, you'll see how Zwift continues that legacy by shooting me out into the wind for absolutely no reason. And now I get dropped by my own team where I can't even help them because it just became impossible to get back on terms with them. Thanks, Zwift. All right, so now that you saw how my race ended, let's talk about how team that I'm on, DW9, did an absolutely incredible job to secure sixth place for this TTT World Cup. And holy smokes, from the get-go, we were off like a rocket, which is expected. And so you see I'm pushing, ended up jumping up into, around 400 watts or so to get my little flames going. But you'll see my average watts up in the top left really don't drop all that much. And so as I get to the back of my team here, with Nate coming up behind me, he ends up pulling through, so that way he can kind of get in the middle. And we are on a roll, pulling 46 kilometers an hour, which is absolutely staggering, because we just started. And like I said, this was an absolute banger of a TTT. And as I go through it, I'll talk to you about, essentially what happened. This being the TTT World Cup, we set it up as a drop race. So basically, you know, anyone who wasn't going to be able to be competitive for the final four would ultimately end up peeling off. In my case, not on purpose, but you'll see that, little by little, our guys start to pull off. So we started with a team of seven. Unfortunately, one of our guys wasn't able to make it. Life challenges happen, and that's 100% expected when it comes to real life, not just the virtual world of Zwift. And so, as a team, we adapted and pressed on, as you can see. And so, I'm going to forward to the moment where it all starts to fall apart for me. And so as we get through the volcano, I start to push forward, um, so I can start my pull. Again, we're pulling at about 4 watts, 4.2 around there. I'm doing my best to kind of stay within that range, so that way um, not only does it help, but also I don't want to inadvertently drop anybody. I don't want to, push too hard and go over. And so that was ultimately the end of my pull and really the last opportunity for me to help. Because as we start to get into Jarvis and get ready for the KOM, as you can see, we all hit PRs going through that sprint, um, because we're just moving that quick. My average watts right now are actually above my average target watts, because we're very close to a top performing team and kind of expected to be, at a podium level. We were all told, like, hey, don't let yourself upgrade, because that could ultimately hurt us, hurt the team. So you see, I start to fall a little bit off the back. No big deal. This is Jarvis, not a hard climb, so I know that I'll make up the distance on the climb itself. That's where most people, especially on a TTT, tend to slow down. So I give it a nice big push, going up to 6.5 watts per kilogram to get on the back with the team. I didn't realize this at the time, but I was going super slow, 39, 40 RPMs. That was painful, absolutely painful. And then all of a sudden, as we're riding, you see the camera kind of does this weird thing. I get pushed out to the side, which happens to me exceptionally often. Exceptionally often. It's actually really frustrating, especially during TTTs. And it has as far as I can tell, it has something to do with where map layers kind of merge. because it happens a lot around intersections or road changes. I don't know why it would have happened there at the KOM, but either way. So you see, I'm a little bit off the back, and I'm thinking, no big deal. Again, got a climb coming. I can push on, push hard to get on with the back of the team. I'm about, 2-ish seconds behind, but I see the gap is growing ever so slightly. I did, at some point through here, I did end up letting the team know, hey, I'm a few seconds off the back. And they were like, no worries, we're just going to keep pushing on because, again, their focus and the team's focus is podium, not, hey, slow down, let Miguel catch up, and we can, drag him along. I had zero issues with, how things ultimately ended up, and so excited that the team was able to do what they did. Um, and so as we get to the top here, I'm realizing that, again, I'm 4 seconds back. I'm not making up any ground. They are absolutely flying. Looking back, I could have probably have done a super big surge here, 800 watts, gotten onto the back of the team, used that momentum to kind of stay with them downhill. But again, they were booking it, and they had already let me know that they were just going to keep pressing on as best they can. And that was kind of it for me. And so I'm going to jump forward a little bit ahead again, because at this point, I knew that I wasn't going to catch up. And the best thing I can do for the team is kind of showcase and highlight how they did. So now we went from 7 to 6, and the 6 that are remaining are absolutely crushing it. Coming out of Jarvis, doing 48 kilometers an hour, and really just, as you can see, I'm highlighting Kai right now because he was an absolute monster, and really just did some incredible pulls, and not only holding the team together, but also holding the team to task and making sure that the goal of podium was always in sight. So you got Hastings off the front right now. You got Kai in second, Greg third, Aaron in fourth, Nate in fifth, and I think that was right, 5, 6. Just double checking my numbers here because it all keeps swapping places. But these are the guys. These are the guys that ultimately push forward. And so I knew that if I could stay with them, you can see I'm already 30 seconds back, and I'm, not even, just barely leaving Jarvis at this point, probably. But uh, these guys and C Brown, sorry, was the other person that I didn't see as the shuffle kind of happened. So as they approach here, just doing a fantastic job of staying together, pushing hard. I'm gonna, kind of fast forward through a lot of this. If you've seen a TTT before, you know how this works. It is everybody just giving it as best they can, doing their best to kind of stay in, in the group, in a line, and draft off of each other until it's their turn to pull ahead. And then once they pull ahead, they are ultimately responsible for setting the pace for the allotted time that they, um, for the most part, have chosen. That's the beauty of DW9, is we kind of, we through the group we chat and we talk about what kind of pulls we're going to do. Generally, a lot of us will take 1 minute pulls, depending on the rider and how you feel in the moment. You may do 30-second pulls, and vice versa. So as they get up the dirty suppress out here, you'll see they just do an absolute fantastic job of making, just, man, just crushing that climb, absolutely crushing that climb, closing in on Team Rhino. Shout out to Brian, who's on that team. I wish I could have stayed with the group because it would have been nice to wave high past him, but ultimately that did not happen, and they did a great job as well. So again, I'm gonna fast forward through some of this to the next milestone here. And so as you can see, they get through the suppressa. They get one guy off the back, but he's quickly coming back on terms. And again, as they start catching the Rhino team, it was an absolute thing of beauty to see the way they just kind of pushed right through. No waiting, no stopping, just blew right past them. Again, I'm doing my best to kind of keep them in camera view, using the drone option in Zwift. And again, coming back down, they are, just flying through these S's. See, right now they got five guys coming through. I think five, six. I think everybody's there, coming through and just really pulling strong. And this is where, especially as they start approaching the tunnel, this is where where you start to feel it. At least, hearing them and, the conversations they were having and, who's pulling what, who's huffing and puffing, you can hear the pain really start to set in at this point. As you can see, Kai is doing, 300 plus watts and pulling absolutely strong, absolutely strong. And so, they are just pushing through again, coming through the tunnel and then having to go up this little tiny climb, which goes from, when you're doing a regular group ride or even a regular race, this climb doesn't feel like it does much of anything. It feels like, you could just hop up, you're done, no big deal. But when you're moving at the pace that they're moving, coming up that climb doing 35, 37 kilometers an hour to then pick up speed again, going through the gravel, pick up speed as they come across the dock here, back into 40 kilometers an hour, it becomes very tough. And you can see, Brown is sort of off the back there, just out of camera view. You see him there a couple meters back, but still doing a great job of hustling and pushing hard. Um, and somewhere in there, it looks like we lost. I think Hastings fell off the back there, which again, bravo to him because he held on so much longer than I could have at that point. And so Brown is just giving it all he's got to stay on terms. And I remember on Discord, on chat, he was truly fighting, and bravo to him. Um, and as the top four start to come crest over the top of this hill, which is really the probably the hardest part of this entire race, is coming up to the top of this, because again, you're already in the deep end, in the red. You see Brown just really digging deep to catch on. And as they crest over this hill, it just, that front group starts to separate. Now, I don't want to say it's a pack dynamic thing, but I'm going to say it's a pack dynamic thing. It's become incredibly hard once you get dropped, incredibly hard to stay on with the group and really keep at it. And that's something for me that I feel like, again, maybe it's a me thing, maybe it's a pack dynamic thing, but at the end of the day, the fact that these four guys were able to hold on and really just push the pace. You see, right now they're coming off that hill doing 50, I think that max out at like 54, 55 kilometers an hour, and then start settling into a 45, 46 mile or 45, 46 kilometer an hour pace basically the rest of the way. There's some parts, yeah, it drops a little bit below that because, this is Fuego Flats or Tempest Fugit. So there is some elevation here and there, on this, on the roads where you get 1, 2, 3%, but not much. And so as you see them come around this corner, they are still just using that momentum and absolutely motoring it through the rest of this TTT. So again, I'm going to give a push forward on the video so you can see as they approach the finish. And so right now you've got Kai, Nate, Aaron, and oh no, it is Hastings, um, in this group that were just going at blistering speeds, absolutely blistering speeds, holding on and really doing a fantastic job, um, as the last four standing for this team. And they're doing their best to just kind of rotate through each other and hold each other tight, catching people one by one and just picking them off as they push forward. And so as they get through the town here of, I don't know if the town is named Tempest Fugit, Fuego Flats, whatever it is. Either way, as they get through the town here, just motoring on, and these guys are truly digging. This is the deepest I think I've seen anyone ever go on a TTT, where they were just absolutely, you can hear it in their voice, you can hear the stress. I really do wish I captured that audio, but unfortunately I didn't. As they get through, starting to come out the backside of the desert here and into the roadway where it starts to um, get past the grasslands here, um, and back into Watopia. You can see they're just moving and moving fast, holding that 40+ km/h pace. Finally, they're starting to get to the top of the entrance back into Watopia, where this roadway just crests ever so slightly at around 1-2%. Pass a couple of the Type 1 guys, which look like they themselves were doing a great job. And as they start to come around the corner here back into Watopia, they start to light a fire. Absolute rock stars, just pushing hard and really giving it absolutely everything they could, which is, again, I am absolutely impressed with the performance that these guys did. They truly not only represented the team well, but showcased what an efficient, effective team could do when you all work together, work hard, and you have some absolute monsters that can, compensate for people like me who unfortunately weren't able to, help out in this TTT. So as they cross the line, clearing the course in about 42 minutes and change, which again was truly awe-inspiring to see. Absolute, absolute monsters. They did such an incredible job finishing out the course, and I'll put it here on display. So as you can see, the team managed to secure the sixth placed position with Kai, Hastings, Aaron, and Nate really motoring on and showing us what it was all about, while the rest of us just finished on. And congratulations to Eat Dirt 2, and then Dirty Watts, Recantants, and Zisonar Mercury for the top 3 spots. Excellent, excellent job. And what an incredible race this was. And so this is me finishing up, because again, the most I can do at this point is just get across the line for my own personal sanity. But that is where I will leave it for now. Again, congratulations to everybody who participated, finished, and congratulations to all of those who really outperformed what they thought they could. And I will see you guys at the next race.
Guys, Miguel, from that thing you just watched, if you know where that reference is from, please leave it down in the comments below. One of my favorite channels. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button, watch videos, playlists, whichever pop up. But thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I hope to see you next time.